G'day, this is Craig. I'm on SCARLETT, and a couple of people have asked about moving a Seawind sideways to park it on or take it off a dock, so I thought I'd do a brief video.
'Cause you know what to do with that big fat butt. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Just a little bit of Cadillac, Cadillac, pop that trunk. Let's take a shot, Allie, you bad dog.
First thing to do is to start the motors, put the starboard one in forward and shorten the line so we're only on one line. Usually just being in idle is enough. Now I want to shorten this line so that we can undo it from on board. So the only thing holding me on is one line there, and starboard engine, keeping the rest of the boat on board. And we're ready to go. As we go, I thought some waltz music might be appropriate. The first thing is so that the crew can take off the only remaining line, put the engines both in neutral. Nothing holding us onto the dock, put the helm all the way across to port. And the port engine is acting like a springer, with the starboard engine being the reverse, thereby twisting the boat out. But for this manoeuvre, we want to go sideways. So by changing engines, whichever engine is in forward is providing sideways thrust. And you can see some thrust at the back of the boat coming out of both of the engines, one after the other, pushing the stern off. It's important to pause briefly in between forward and aft. In making this video, I was probably a little faster than I normally would have been, changing from forward to aft. But it only takes a second for the gears to stop. When learning this technique, you can augment it with a little bit more forward and aft motion so you get a bit of a zigzag effect, and that can further enhance the speed at which you come off the dock. And of course it depends how far out you need to go before you can go straight ahead. I'm coming a fair way off just for the purpose of demonstration. Because you've got one prop going forward and one prop going aft, there's very little net prop walk, because the prop walk of one propeller is counteracted by the prop walk of the other going in the opposite direction. Okay, that's just about enough. Let's put it in neutral. Now, to prove that we really were doing it, we'll change the helm all the way now over to starboard. And you'll see that we'll come back in. If you find the boat going slightly forward or slightly aft, you can increase the amount of throttle just to keep yourself in the same relative position to the dock. And again, you can see the thrust coming out from behind the motor is not just coming straight out, it's actually coming out and to the side that you're trying to push away from. So now with the port engine, it's pushing out to the starboard side, so that the stern of the boat is coming in as well as just wiggling backwards and forwards. And again, you can see some wash there on the starboard side from the starboard engine now, and vice versa. So whichever engine is in forward is producing thrust hitting the rudder and pushing it out to the side, thereby having net motion of the boat towards or away from the dock. We line the boat up nice and straight. No crew has to jump, they just step off. Thank you to Lachlan for helping me edit and also for being my decky for the day. All that remains now is to leave the starboard engine again in forward gear. When the back line is on, the boat's not going to go anywhere. I find that this manoeuvre works in anything up to about 15 knots of cross breeze. Beyond that, it's really too much for the props and you will be blown off more than you can accommodate. I usually don't try and attempt it in much more than 12 or 13 knots. I have more of a angled in technique, but it's useful to combine this with other techniques. The bow line on, and then we'll be all set to go. Thanks very much for watching. I hope this has been of some interest and use. Important point that this only works when your engines are in line with your rudders. So for those who are on outboard, the outboards aren't in line with the rudders, so unfortunately this technique doesn't work as well. It will still work, but not anywhere near as well. And you do need to go a bit more forwards and backwards in a zigzag motion rather than having the side thrust in effect from the rudders pushing you off. Still a useful technique, but not as effective with outboards. There we're all tied up, and apart from the bird on the mast, Scarlett is very happy.